Yeah.
And then you just plug and play with your process and get results.
Yeah, love it. All right, what's going on, everybody? We're here live at Door to Door Con 2025. We've got someone that is coming back on the show, repeat guests. This guy, he brought a ton of knowledge, a ton of great content last time. So we got Brandon Forrester back on the show. Thanks for coming back on, Brandon.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm fired up. The event's been awesome, and it's been good to see everybody again. It's like a giant family reunion every year. So
that's right.
I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, it's been fun, and always take advantage to get together and do some more podcasts, especially with studs like Brandon. And if you have not listened to Brandon's first episode, we will link it in the show notes, so check that out. And you can hear it for yourself. But
it was a fun one.
Yeah, crazy story about how he knocked on Easter Sunday in Utah, and just absolutely insane work ethic. So check that one out. But yeah, today we're going to be catching up with Brandon, and he's still been just dominating solar. I know you've done a lot of blitzing, Brandon, experienced a lot of different markets, had a ton of success. So yeah, do you you remember, what has it been, like 2 years since we did the last podcast?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple years. So yeah, I don't know, maybe Reader's Digest for what you've been up to the past couple of years, catching our listeners up.
Just been grinding, man. Just been putting in a lot of time out there, trying to really master the game of sales and door-to-door sales with solar. It's been really fun. So,
cool.
Last year was incredible, and then it's weird to say that because it's already 2025.
Yeah.
So it's like thinking 23 versus 24.
Yeah.
And then obviously 2024 was a really good year too. So we did a blitz, a couple of different blitzes in different markets. I think I've sold in 17 states now.
Wow.
Been going Airbnb to Airbnb, just going around, trying different places, and it's been really fun, man. Like going to different markets, being able to learn what works and what doesn't work, and understanding that sales is all the same no matter where you're working at.
Right.
It's all the same psychology. It's the same process. It's just you create a new, you find the pain point for that market, you adapt it to what people are seeing out there, and then you just plug and play with your process and get results.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, and it's something that I know myself, I've struggled with it sometimes, just going from market to market. Because there's differences in all the markets, there's differences in the products and the utilities. I was just talking to some people today that are doing a lot of blitzing in Texas and all that, and I've done some blitzes that have gone okay, but some have like totally tanked in other markets. So in all these different states, do you have any advice on maybe people that are switching from market to market? What's like your go-to thing? Is there stuff you're researching before you get into a market? Or what do you think helps you make it like a super smooth transition into adjusting from market to market? Yeah,
so great question. It's about being strategic. So you never want to vary from your process. Okay. And a lot of it is also your mindset and what you're telling yourself before you go into that market. Because a lot of people, they'll come in. A huge example here is California. You hear everybody talks about it. It's so saturated, right? Yeah. After selling across the country, if you go into a market and you're telling yourself, hey, this area is saturated, this is tapped out, your manager's telling you, bro, this is going to be like the hardest hood ever, whatever it is, they're almost setting you up to fail. And then you get out there and you find if you keep that belief that they're projecting on you, then it's going to be saturated, air quote, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to struggle. But if you can come in with the mindset of dude, I got this. Because before I went out and I blitzed in a few different California markets, I was on the Solar Objections Facebook. I actually saw someone, they wrote it out and they're like, dude, the specific city in Cali is the #1 most saturated market in the entire United States. And then I found out later that's the same place that I went to go blitz, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
And dude, I ripped it out there. And I was like, I'm going to go prove that this is not the most saturated place.
Yeah, wow.
And a large part of it is because you put in the repetition, you put in the training. It might be saturated for everybody else, but most people in the door-to-door space, especially in sales in general, they're not professionals.
Right.
There's so much turnover. There's so many people that there's a lot of homeowners out there where they've talked to somebody maybe 9 or 10 times, but most of those people literally just started, or they might have been in solar for a long time, but again, they're not trained. They don't really know what they're doing. So to the homeowner, they're just going to tell them no. But if you can be trained and you can know what you're doing, you can have your process dialed stepping into a new market, you fall back to your process, and it doesn't matter how quote unquote saturated it is.
Yeah. So true.
The other one I would say is try to find market specific pain. I learned a lot of this in Knockstar. So like go to Google, type in utility rate increase. So if it's PG&E, if it's Excel, whatever your utility that you're working in is, and be like, hey, what's the recent news here? What are the increases? What are the projects, like the grid projects that they're working on that people might not know about, or that might have made the news either way? And then you go on there and you Google it, and you go to your Excel, you go to your spreadsheets or whatever, and you create some sort of document, and then you put it all together where it's like, hey, I have this slick that shows exactly what's going on with your specific area in regards to the electric costs going up or down. Hopefully it's going up, right? Yeah. And then you go up there to the door and you're like, knock on the door. Hey, I'll be super quick. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you heard about the recent rate hikes going on, or I don't know if you heard about like the new plan that your utility just imposed on you. Whatever it is that the article that you found that you feel like could create a lot of pain, then you show them that, so you have proof of concept, right? And then it's like, oh, this is different than what the last guy talked about. Because a lot of people, they might just go over like, hey, what are the rate increases going on? But it's like, what are the big changes or the biggest drivers that could create the most curiosity at the door and create a lot of pain at the door? And then that's what I show them, or have a slick printed out. And then I'll do that for every market that I work in. So I'll go find out what are the market specific pain points. I'll print it out, I'll present it to them. And I literally do the exact same thing with my presentation after that. So I'm changing like 2 sentences. And then I keep the rest of it the same as my other presentation. And dude, like it works no matter where you're selling it.
Yeah, that's absolute fire. And it's funny, we just went to Melissa Ramaiza's little training today too. She was talking about a lot of the same stuff, how she prepares for blitzes. And yeah, she makes this slicks for her whole team, prints them out based on the market. It's so good. You don't have to, I think some guys think you need to learn a whole new script or like presentation or something. But it's like you said, if you can keep most of it the same, but just have a few things. And it literally makes you seem like you're the expert in that market, just because you know what's going on with their local circumstances. Like, oh, I better check this out. Sounds like a big deal. Dude,
yeah, it's specific to them. Like, you want to personalize the opportunity and the pain to their current situation. So you want to make it personal. Because what a lot of other reps do is they just have like their cookie cutter approach that their manager told them to do. Like, here's your script, right? Exactly. Oh, rates are going up, I do solar. That's it. So it's like, if you can make it more specific, you can build more curiosity, build more pain around it, and it just makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah, so good for sure. So yeah, I want to talk about, before we hit record here, you were going over some of the numbers that you've hit on these blitzes, and pretty mind-blowing, man. So we'll talk a little bit more, but yeah, for our listeners, what are this past year going on these blitzes? I know you were in California for a little bit. Maybe talk about what are some of the numbers you were able to hit with you and your team with, like, I don't know, sales commissions, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so we did 2 blitzes. The second one, everyone ended up getting sick. So like that one, I'm not even going to bring up. Like that was, and we were also knocking like tons of renters. So it was Christmas. So everyone kind of checking out for the year. The first blitz though I ran, it was that one I was talking about earlier. I read this article, dude, this market's so saturated, so hard. I throw it up on Instagram, like, bro, like, because I saw some of the margins out there and how much you're actually able to help some of the homeowners. And I saw that and I was like, dude, why can't I do it? Like, if all these people are going out and they're doing 6 figures in a month or even half a month or whatever, it's like, what if I did that in less than that? Like, what if I could do that in 10 days or something, right? It's possible. And it started with the belief that I had where, hey, I can do this. And what I did is I went out there and I was in some like hood area. Like I tried some of the hood, I tried some cookie cutter. So this is like all different types of neighborhoods that I was working in. So some of it was cookie cutter, some of it was like country roads, and I got deals in all these different places. And I've never sold in California before previous to this. I said a little bit for other closers for a couple of days, but previous to this, I never went out there before. So this was my first experience going out. I ended up getting 4 self-gens in that time period. 2 of them were like within 2 days of each other. And then I got The rest of them were closes for setters. So I ended up with 9 total deals. So in a period of 7 working days.
Yeah.
I was working roughly 6 to 7 hours a day because I started getting some really bad stomach pain. I got, this last summer, I ended up not being able to work for most of the summer because I got something, I think it's IBS is what it is. So it's irritable bowel syndrome. Okay. So it's like you just have constant stomach pain. It's just not fun to deal with. Yeah. I spent over 10 grand on lab work and getting exams from different doctors. No one knew anything, so it was fun to deal with.
Sorry to hear that.
Just shy of a golden door this year. Had I been able to work this summer, would have been easy to hit that. But again, it's like I like to work in truth, and say hey, like I like to be very transparent with what I do, and I want to actually hit it. If that makes sense, and not say that I would have got it, but or I got it, but I didn't really get it, which. Don't want that either.
Yeah, people do. But no, it's impressive, and I was joking around with you that you're working with all these health issues is still like more than an average solar person is working. So Brandon at 50% is like most solar reps 100%, right? This guy's work ethic. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. Even dealing with health issues, you still hit some insane numbers and made a lot of money. In
almost 900 kilowatts last year.
Yeah,
roughly like 6-7 months of actual working time, maybe 6-7 hour days.
Yeah.
So pretty solid. Half of those are self-generated. So yeah, and not
incredible.
A bad year.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, like, because some guys, they deal with health issues, or I've had reps on my team deal with stuff going on in the family, whatever personal circumstances going on, and sometimes it's just like they get in their own heads, and
it's self-sabotage.
So we just start making excuses. Oh, I'm never going to be successful. I can't do as good. But you kept working. So maybe on like the mental side, how did you keep yourself in like a good mental space, or how did you overcome that and not let it affect you? Any tips on that for guys that are struggling with?
It's a balance. It's not. I mean, it can be tough, right? I know a lot of people may be listening to this. Everyone deals with something. Like some people it's health, some people it's mental. What I've realized, because I went through a couple different transformational experiences last year. I was telling you about. There's an event called Journey to Nobody. It was the most transformational thing I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
Wow. Awesome.
But I realized a couple things is I manifest and I created all those things that happened to me. So the mind is very powerful, and you get what you focus on, and everything that you want in life is because, everything you have in life is because that's what you want. And I was snowboarding the other day, right? And you guys might have heard of this, but I was snowboarding literally just yesterday. I was going down the mountain, and I suck. Like, I'm not very good. I've gone 4 times, and I'll crash all the time on that thing, dude. I'm so sore today. But I realized I was like looking, and I was thinking about like crashing, and I would start crashing more. Or I would start falling down the slopes the wrong way and have to get back up again. Then I pay attention to where my eyes are looking, right? And if I'm looking in the places I don't want to end up, I usually, like, my board goes in that direction. And I correct where my eyes are at, I correct my focus, and I start moving in that direction. I start actually snowboarding in the right way. So it's the same thing with like my health stuff is when I'm focused on woe is me, or this sucks, my situation, whatever it is, it might be tough. I can acknowledge it for what it is, but I don't have to look at it in a negative light. I could look at it in a neutral light, or even in a positive one, like, hey, there must be something to learn from this. I believe there's no accidents. Like, everything in life does happen for a reason. So it's just like I focus on, what can I control? Right? So you can't necessarily control everything, but like, what are the foods I'm eating? Right? What are the doctors I'm going to? Like, there's always something within your influence that can allow more opportunity for you. So for me, it was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to go talk to 10 different doctors, because I'm supposed to be out there with my team right now. Dude, it was full summer season. Like, it's the worst time to end up in a situation like this. Right? Like, couldn't even get out of freaking bed, dude. It was so rough.
So hard,
So I would just spend as much time as I could. And I actually started recruiting like crazy too. So I went to Instagram, I started cold DMing people, recruited a bunch of people over that same time that I was sick. So it's like, find opportunities to go out and be successful. Even if XYZ is happening in your life, there's always something else that you can do that you just need to zoom out, right? Sometimes we're too zoomed in on our current situations, our own problems. Well, we're the ones creating those problems.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're focused on them, but they're not even really problems because your mind is programmed to create these problems.
Yeah.
they're just situations.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
It's just something that has happened. So if you can look at it in a neutral way, hey, this is just something that has happened to me. Let's find a way of dealing with this or working through this in a healthy way that can serve me. And then utilize my talents, my skills, and looking at this in a better way instead of like a negative light.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, it's funny. I'm almost done reading that. I don't know if you've read that Miracle Morning book.
Oh yeah, Paul Elrod, right?
Yeah,
dude,
good book.
Incredible,
classic right there. But I was just reading that the other day, and I don't know if you remember the part where he's talking about setting the alarm and waking up, because he recommends that people get up, like early 5 a.m. or whatever to do this Miracle Morning routine. And he talks about something similar where, like whatever he was thinking the night before, if he's thinking, oh, it's going to be so hard to wake up in the morning, I'm going to be so tired, I'm only going to get like 6 hours of sleep, it's not enough. Whatever he was thinking about before he went to bed, that's what ended up happening in the morning, basically. And I'm like, well, that's true. And he's like said he's done all these studies and tests, and it didn't really matter how much sleep he got. It was more just what he was thinking about the amount of sleep he was going to get.
There's a book I'm reading right now. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
It's a recommendation from one of my friends.
Yeah.
Listen to it on my drive up here. Long drive.
Yeah.
But they actually did a lot of studies on that, like the power of the mind and manifestation, visualization. One example that they gave was people that were throwing darts. So they had 3 groups. One of them was a control group where these people had 0 experience, and it was a test done, I think it was over a couple of months. So 3 groups of people throwing darts at a board, right?
Yeah.
And the first group, they'd go in, they'd test them. Of course, they didn't improve at all, but they would go in like once a month and throw darts, and they would study this over 3 months or so. Yeah. The second group would go in, they'd do it every day. Like they do it for like an hour or 2, they'd practice every single day. At the end of the test, they had 23% of an improvement at playing darts. And then the last group, they didn't practice at all, but instead they took their darts, held it in their hand, and they looked at the dartboard, they closed their eyes, and they just sat there for 10 minutes every single day over the course of the study, and they just visualized them hitting that dartboard, right? Just visualization of the dart releasing from their hands, hitting the target right in the center for 10 minutes every single day. At the end of the test, they showed an increase of 23%.
Wow.
So it was 1% difference than the first group.
About the same
as the guys that do it every single day. So it's like,
holy cow.
If you're dealing with health stuff, whatever it is, like start viewing your life and being more intentional on taking time out of your day to actually visualize and really internalize in depth what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Right? Like the positive outcomes instead of focusing more on the negative.
Yeah.
Because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. That's good. So you'd say that's the main thing that helped you get through the health stuff and
I just kept the vision the whole time. I was like, it doesn't matter what's happening. I mean, you hear about those crazy, like, what is it? Like back in the day, they had the Holocaust and the Holocaust survivors, the people that survived it. Like, there were books on it. I don't remember all the details.
Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl.
Yeah, you could probably tell more than I could.
Yeah, well, I just listened to that one, but he talks about that. He was one of like the survivors, and he's the one that wrote about all that stuff. But
went through hell and back and somehow came out, and he talks about like where his mind was the entire time, and it's like,
that's incredible.
I thought of myself being in a better place.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's powerful.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps anyone that's struggling, because I think everyone's going to have moments where they're going through some tough stuff, whether it's relationships, health, whatever. And it does make this job a lot harder, but like Brandon's saying, focus on things you can control. Visualization, affirmations, I think all those things help a lot, and just we manifest what we're thinking about for sure. So, and then I want to get into maybe some tactical stuff here too, Brandon. So you did 9 cells in what, 7 days?
7 working days, 6-7 hours a day.
Okay.
Ended up with $100,000 commission. It's like I think it was like 103 or something.
Yeah.
Never done that before. My best month prior to that was in Colorado where I did $100,000 in a month, and that was in February of that year.
Yeah.
So be able to do that in 7 days is, yeah, it feels good. It's a cool little trophy.
Yeah, incredible. So before, I think the first podcast we did, we focused more on the setting, and I think back then you were mostly just setting, right?
Oh, yeah.
You hadn't even really started closing yet.
It was mostly setting, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, now you're closing like a madman too, just still setting and everything. What are some things maybe as you've been closing more, and I don't know, maybe we could get into like some closing tips, some things that helped you close at a really high level.
Yeah, I love that. No, it's been a lot of fun to learn the different sides of the solar sales.
Yeah.
So closing is very unique. So there is a lot that you'll learn from your team, from your managers. There's a lot that should be unlearned as well. I would also challenge anybody to listen to this to look outside of their current network and get connected to other people that are operating at a higher level. Because what I've learned in closing isn't just from my own stuff. It's not just from one person's. It's a culmination of many different people and seminars and platforms that I've paid to be a part of. Yeah. And then obviously the biggest thing is going and implementing with that information. But there's a couple points to this. So you want to make sure that you qualify quickly, because this is one thing I'm huge on, is there's a lot of people, even in setting, they'll waste so much time. Like you can do 3 times as much volume if you can qualify your prospects faster.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, I'd love to actually track the data on that. I'm huge on tracking data. But I think it'd be fun to go and check that out. But what I mean by that is, say you sit down with them and they fail credit. Mm-hmm. I see this all the time where reps go through a whole presentation, you get to the end, oh, credit fail. Oh, I'm glad I sat here for 60 minutes trying to overcome all your objections, and then you can't even sign up for solar. Yeah, so that's one of the first things I'll do. Even before I get too into rapport building, I'll be like, hey man, I'm super busy, got a lot of these that I do every single day. Before I get into it, there are some qualifications. We're more selective than most companies out here. I'd say we're one of the most selective ones. So what that looks like, there's 3 things that we look at before we can even potentially begin to think about approving your home for something like this. So number 1, you have to own the property. So you guys, and I would ask, especially in California, New Mexico, different places where there's a lot of Spanish speakers. Yeah. There's other people that I've realized that are into making the decision for the property. Even if they say, I'm the only decision maker, you might want to ask who else is on the title. Yeah. Because you don't want, you sign up Jorge or whoever it is, and you get to the end and, you're ready to install, and then they've got Juan out in Canada. That's no, don't do it. Or he's in Mexico or whatever. Don't do it. Because so you want to utilize and make sure that you get everybody involved. So anyone else that is on the title. So I'll ask that as well. So is there anyone else on the title of the home? Is there anyone else that is involved with this type of stuff, or is it only just you? And I'll actually make sure that you have both spouses there. If not, I would just go back and reset it. Yeah. Hey, I'm super busy. I'm just going to swing back when she's around. She'll be here in about an hour or 2. You just reset it for another time. Yeah. So you want to make sure you qualify them, make sure you got good credit. So number 1, you own the property. Cool. How old is your roof? Get that out of the way, because if you don't have a good roof, you need to make sure that they do. Or you can sell them with a roof. That way it's not you sell the deal and it's just sitting there forever. Right. Learn the hard way again. Yeah. And then obviously the last one. Cool. So the last thing is between you and your spouse. Someone in the property needs to have a credit score over 9,000. No, I'm just joking. Usually I look for 650 or higher. So would you say you guys are pretty good there? Yeah. If they don't know, I'll have it pull it up right there. So this is all stuff you want to train your setters, but that's one of the things I'll do as a closer as well, is just make sure they're super qualified. Yeah. And then I'll even go a step further and say, so the biggest difference between us and a lot of other companies is we work a lot of referral-based business. So we don't just do solar for anybody that breathes. Yeah. We like to work with people that are going to be excited about it, and ideally people that share this with their friends and family. So hypothetically, say this all made sense, you loved it, we could save you a ton of money. Is this something that you would be open to sharing with people in your network? Yeah. Because it's we don't spend all this money on advertising. We want to make sure that we have more affordable costs, and we can keep costs down because we're not blowing a lot on ad spend.
Money on TV.
We'd rather just pass those savings on to you, right? And then you can send us referrals. So it's more of a volume game, and doing it the right way.
Yeah, I love that one, especially when they're like, oh, this sounds too good to be true, or how do you guys make money? Like throwing that in, because usually something clicks in their head, oh, maybe that's why they can give me such a good deal, because it makes it seem more like believable in their head now. They don't think it's less of a scam.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess that makes sense. We have to send them a bunch of referrals.
Yep.
And yeah, I think Taylor McCarthy calls it like the model home program, they agree to basically be like a marketing home for you.
Yeah, so that's a big one, and then you can go back, like leverage that when you like after you close the deal.
Yeah.
Like go back, knock on the door, whatever, call them, send them a text. But like I always set the expectation that you're not going to never see us again. Like a lot of companies, it's a one and done, right? There's a lot of people that are kind of in town for the week and then they're gone, like fly by night type companies.
Yeah.
So the difference here, even though I'm traveling all the time, I'm blitzing all the time, like I give them access to my number. I have a project manager, shout out London.
Yeah.
So I get them connected, I get them looped in, I get them feeling really comfortable, because they don't want to be abandoned. Like they don't want to know, like that's one of their biggest fears is, well, what happens after the deal's closed?
Right.
Like say it's on my roof, like what's going to happen? Like they're already thinking that your company's going to go out of business, or they're not, if they need something, they're going to be high and dry. So you want to give them as much assurance as possible to overcome that, if that's their concern.
Yeah.
But usually you want to find those things out pretty quick, like at the beginning, like, hey, what are the biggest things that have held you back? I know you've talked to 10 people already.
Yeah.
Like what's like the number one thing for you that just wasn't quite lining up? Okay, cool, you write it down. What else? What else? You get all the info and like why they didn't want to do it. And then you also want to get the info why they are wanting to do it, especially if they've met with so many people, there's obviously interest there. Okay. So the other aspect is trying not to present as much, like don't go into as much of a presentation if they've already done and seen a lot of those.
Yeah.
For me, it's more of a conversation.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, grab the pen and paper and like do a whole like a whole thing, which can work. It can work. I've had a lot of success with that, but it's tailoring my presentation, right?
Yeah.
To the person I'm talking with.
Yeah.
So if they've already seen it 100 times, they don't want to go through that. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
But if it's like someone brand new and they're a lamb type personality and they're kind of just going to go with the flow, cool. I can show them something on paper.
Yeah.
So just kind of tailor it to the needs of that specific prospect.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, I think that's a big secret that new guys maybe don't do as well at, is just, like you said, tailoring it to the person. So I remember when I started, it was like we just had a slideshow presentation.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the only way that I know how to do it. And no matter the person in front of me, I was going through the exact same slides.
Robot.
People were practically falling asleep. I'm like, oh, I can't skip this part. I got to go through everything. And yeah, you can close deals, it works. But I think there are also people that like, you see people with like a short fuse or like
watching
you said,
their watch. They're like, oh shoot, you've been here too long, whatever.
Yeah, you got to learn how to, interact and cut things out, do whatever you need to do. So yeah, it's a big secret. And then you talked about a project manager you have. So especially if you're blitzing, when you're leaving, how do you work with like your project manager? What's maybe some secrets on working with the project manager, getting the accounts to install? Because I know that's a tougher thing, even when I'm not blitzing, even if I've left one area and gone to another.
Yes.
Sometimes it can kind of be a hassle, like managing accounts where I've had to like try to get in touch with the customer, get a hold of them later.
So there's a lot that goes into that. The biggest thing is the right expectations at the end of the deal.
Okay.
So like, hey, like, this isn't going to happen right away. Usually it takes time. Everybody I sign, they know they're going solar. I'm not selling a site survey. I'm not selling a maybe you'll qualify thing. It's like, no, we're going to move forward. Like they're confident that they're going to move forward. They're going to take the next steps. I do tell them based off their location, there's a chance your utility could deny you. Okay. Sometimes that fires them up. Yeah. But in terms of the expectation to get the job to the roof at the end of the deal, it's setting the right frame in terms of here's what to expect moving forward. So what likely happens is our installs are 60 to 90 days, and I'll tell people worst case scenario. Okay. Usually it doesn't take that long, right? But I'll tell people worst case scenario, it's going to take 60, sometimes 90 days if we have to do some structural work to the property, like say we have to upgrade your main panel or something like that. Yeah. just understand that it is construction, it does take time. So what I'll do, and then I'll highlight, if there's something that they liked in their presentation, I'll highlight this at the end, or something they were worried about. So like, hey, that last company that you met with, you mentioned you didn't want to work with them because they ghosted you or your project sat for months. You didn't hear anything from them, right? So this is why so many of the neighbors like working with us, is because we have this dedicated project manager just for your job. So what that means is you're going to have direct access to any information you want to know about your job at any point in time. Her name's London. I hype her up. She's the #1 project manager in the entire United States. She is so cool. I know her personally, one of my best friends. Such an amazing human. But she'll send you updates and she'll make sure that the ball doesn't get dropped. Because there's a lot of other hoops, there's a lot of people that we have to talk to make sure that your job actually goes to installation. So she's going to make sure that the guy at the city or the guy handling the permits doesn't drop the ball on us.
Yeah.
Like she's going to keep following up until this thing is actually moving.
Nice.
So that's a huge expectation. Like people want to know that they're taken care of.
Yeah.
If you ever need anything, if you have anything that you need at all, any point in time, just know that you can text her and she'll get back with you in 24 hours.
Nice.
So just letting people know that they're in really good hands. You hype up the project manager and you set the expectation that if you need something, she's got you, which leaves you more room to go out and sell more deals instead of playing project manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your job as a sales professional should be spent in front of as many qualified leads as possible. Like that's the most productive thing you can be doing, not doing pipeline work.
Yeah.
Right? That's not what you should be doing.
I know.
Learn the hard way.
I know. Maximize your time.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, hey, if you got referrals, I'm your guy. Like send them my way, I specialize in this. But when it comes to projects and project management, anything of that nature, London's got your back. And I make sure that they know, and usually they're pretty excited about it. And then I text them, I get them in a group chat right away.
Okay.
Before I leave the house, I'll be like, hey, London, this is Joe, just getting you in touch, just letting him know you're gonna help them out with this project.
Nice.
London's like, congrats on going solar, I'll be here if you need anything. And then we do weekly calls every Tuesday. So we just go through the whole roster. Just like, hey, here's your job, here's where you're at, here's what this person might need. So anything that I need to do on my end, or if it's like, hey, you need whatever it is, like anything that she can't do, I'll step in and help with.
Yeah.
But 99% of it is off of my plate, which is huge.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the key. And we've heard a bunch of speakers today. I think every top producer, I don't think I know of any that doesn't have someone helping with their accounts. So especially if you're doing a high volume like yourself, it's like you're either gonna have to take a break from selling just to catch back up, or you're gonna have tons fall off, right? Because they're not getting updates. There's holds on them, and they just fall through. Yeah,
find an installer too. That's the other thing that we've actively been working on and improving at, is making sure that your installer can fulfill. Because especially when people come from other companies and they start selling solar, they get a lot of dopamine right away. Like, oh man, I just made 30 grand, whatever, like this month, that's amazing. Yeah. And then nothing installs.
Yeah.
So it's like making sure you really vet out the people that you work with to ensure that installs won't even just happen quickly, but that they're done the right way, that customers do have a good experience, and that way you can honor your word and the promises that you made to them to begin with. So you can work the referrals from there.
Yeah, and I think knowing the differences between the install partners, because it works one way at one, or their timelines, I've made that mistake of just giving kind of the same updates and like basing the experience, thinking it'll be a similar experience with a different installer.
Completely different.
And then it's like timelines took longer, or they did things different. So I think getting familiar with it. Because it's like I actually got a text this morning, matter of fact, of this lady, her and her sister own the home, and her sister, she was kind of halfway in the presentation, but she's all mad at me because they've had to reschedule like some additional battery work they had to do. Guess the crew got sick, and she's like, oh, you lied to us, you told us to be done this day.
Taylor, you're terrible.
And all this stuff. And so, I'm like, for me, I'm like, oh, well, it's not my fault the crew got sick. But the thing that is my fault is I should have made sure that she had a better expectation.
What to expect.
Yeah, because obviously she's all like, and I'm trying to tell her now, I'm like, hey, that's on me for making sure you didn't have that expectation, because there's a lot of moving parts in this. Things can go wrong. install crews can get backed up, whatever. So I'm sorry that you didn't have that expectation, and I'm trying to kind of like reset it now.
Yeah.
But now it's obviously a lot harder now. I should have done it before, even though she wasn't as involved in the presentation. So
Right.
lessons learned.
Yeah, expectations.
But,
it all comes down to expectations, and under promising and over delivering is always amazing to do. Like with your reps, with your homeowners, like I've discovered like you always want to set the bar super low for what people should expect, and then you come in and you actually deliver on it. Because if you can just meet people with what you say you're going to do, they're going to be stoked. Because most people can't even do that.
Yeah.
So if you can just deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, but then even go a step further and give them what you really said you're going to give them, then that's how you build the referrals.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Well, Brandon, I know we got some. We're still at door-to-door con here, so I don't want to take your whole conference time away here. But before I forget, and before we end the podcast, I know recently you've been rolling out some exciting updates and things that you're going to be working on, projects you got going on for this year. And so I know you've been rolling out some training programs, and you got some stuff going on with that. So before we end, do you want to tell our listeners some what you've been working on, and maybe if they're interested in getting more training? And Brandon and I were talking about potentially collaborating on some stuff, so may possibly stay tuned for that. But yeah, for now, do you want to tell our listeners what you've been working on? And
it's exciting. So guys, if you could listen to one thing, it would be this. So there is a lot of training platforms, and sometimes it gets confusing, right? There's a lot of information, and you can even join one of these programs and you're just like stuck in the mud. Like you log in, you got 85 videos, you got like, cool, there's a call that happens, and then you might get some info, but it's like, what do you do with it? So I also have had a lot of people that have messaged me over the years and asked me, it happens like every week almost, where someone's like, hey dude, do you have any courses? Do you have any like programs or coaching? I've told them no every time until today. Nice. So it's not developed yet. So full disclaimer, I'm actively working on it. I'm like, it's a whole thing. There's a lot that I'm putting into this, but I want to build it out the right way. So I'm investing literally tens of thousands of dollars into creating this, but what it's going to be is it's going to be a solar only specific training platform. Nice. It won't just have a university, it won't just have your courses, it won't just have your community calls. It's going to be in depth on how to. So it's going to be very actionable. Cool. Like you have to go through X, Y, Z to get this outcome. So it'll essentially be like a duplicatable process on how to go out and make six figures in a month, or if you want to hit your first six-figure year, like there will be an actual blueprint on how to do that. And then the goal behind this is, well, let's stack up as many, testimonials, and let's get as many people in on this as possible. Potentially send this out to other companies so they can send their reps through this program to ensure that, hey, not only are they doubling, tripling their sales, but they're doing it the right way. They're properly explaining tax credits. They're giving people the right loan products or the right TPO product. Because I also think that there's going to be regulation happening. So with that in place, it's going to help a lot of the solar reps get ahead of regulation. So that way they can be, hey, I'm actually certified to go sell solar. Yeah. I'm not just licensed or whatever, but I'm literally certified for this. I've been through the training. I've invested in myself to go out and do this. Yeah. And it's proven results. So like I want the results to show themselves. Yeah. So I am super excited about it. It's only solar specific. It will have everything, mindset, goal setting, all that stuff. Yeah. But actionable deliverables on how to close the deal. There'll be different frameworks like, hey, you're gonna have to nail your rapport building. You're gonna have to nail your pre-frame. You're gonna have to nail the building the pain. So it's gonna have like different sections. Cool. And then once you nail that section, then you can move to the next one. Because what happens oftentimes is you kind of feel rushed or you're overwhelmed with all this information. So this is going to be a systemized approach on how to step by step fully master the solar sale, from knocking the door all the way to getting referrals at the end. Yeah. And then leveraging it that way. So I'm fired up about it. Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, hey, we can't wait to see what'll come out with that. And guys, make sure you're following Brandon. I know you're going to be dropping more updates and stuff going on with your training platform. And yeah, as always, reach out
to myself, I know Brandon, he's going to be in California. I think that's the plan. You're going to be more in California this upcoming year?
Somewhere in Orange County. Haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Inland Empire somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, man, just been Airbnb-ing it for now, but I'm looking to build out there a lot more.
Yeah, cool. All right, just stay out of San Diego and we're good.
Right? I heard it's on fire right now. So.
Yeah, literally. Got fires going on. Yeah, but yeah, so reach out. Myself and Brandon, we're both out in California, so we can get you plugged in with some incredible opportunities and yeah, as well as training for yourself or your team if you're listening to this. So Brandon, it's been awesome having you on, and now that you're going to be coming to the land of milk and honey in California, yeah. I'm sure we'll be doing collaborations. We're already talking about you possibly coming out and doing trainings for some of my guys, and happy to do the same for your guys too out in California. And but yeah, anything as we end here, anything you want to end with, maybe for reps that are like I don't know, in a slump right now, or reps that, because solar, I mean, let's be honest, it's been a tougher year for solar. Yeah. We were talking about that, kind of talking about the training platforms that, yeah, a lot of guys are in slumps right now. A lot of guys are, you know, we've had guys on our teams go to different home improvement industries just because there's a lot of things going on with the lenders and with, you know, jurisdictions changing, net metering laws and stuff like that changing. So yeah, anything that you'd say to that?
Yeah.
Or,
so it's consolidating, right? Like a lot of the bad players are exiting, and some reps unfortunately are giving up faith in it. Yeah. So the way I see it, it's like that we've all seen this before. We've all had the visual of the guy who's just digging and digging and digging, and he's trying to get gold, and he's just digging, and he's literally like 3 feet from it, and then he turns around. So that's how I see like solar right now. It's like, it's still a gold mine. Yeah. Right? It's still an amazing opportunity to completely change your life and make life-changing wealth. It's still there. It's just you need the right training, the right platform, the right structure, the right company, installer. Like you need to make sure you're with the right people to help you dig that gold out of it, or you're just going to go do something else. Yeah. But if you've already put in time, like if you've been in this for a few months or even a couple of years like us, dude, stick with it. Yeah. Right? Like, why would you quit when you're this close? Yeah. And there's also a lot of positive things happening in the space as well. Yeah. So it's like, dude, I would just keep digging. Go hit that gold. Go align yourself with the right crew, with the right people, and you'll be so glad that you didn't quit. Yeah. Right? Imagine if I gave up, because I was doing this for 3 years, working for different companies, never got paid out, went bankrupt. Like I've had everything happen to me. Seriously. And if I would have quit before I found the opportunity I'm in now, like, bro, I would be in such a way, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be like working Subway, and I'm joking. I'd probably be doing real estate or something, but I know I would have missed out on a lot of potential. Yeah. Right? I would have not been able to help as many people or as many homeowners have as big of an impact as I can have now, because I just simply refuse to give up. Yeah. So it's like, just keep digging. Yeah. Dig down, dig further, and like stick with it, because it'll pay off big time. Yeah, so good. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think the guys that stick with this, they're going to emerge as the leaders. And, you know, there's guys that, matter of fact, a lot of the guys at my company right now, the ones that are, you know, the leading massive teams, leading the organizations, a lot of those guys are ones that stuck with it through the hard times when a lot of people were quitting. Yeah. And now they've came out on the other side. Everyone flocked to them, and they're the ones that are making the big money and stuff like that. That's how it works. I think that's how it goes. A lot of it is just like timing and sticking with it when a lot of people are quitting, right? And I think we're a big picture.
On the other side. Yeah.
I think we're a big picture.
Definitely. Well, Brandon, thanks again for coming on. And guys, make sure you follow Brandon on Instagram. I think that's where you're most active, posting a lot of your updates and content, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be, so tune in, because I'm going to be blowing that up this year. Like, there's going to be posts every single day, a lot of value. So a lot of the paid stuff you guys can find out there, I'm just going to give it all for free. So I'm going to, it's just going to be so much value. So it's at Brandon, Brandon, and then the number 4. And then ESTER, so Brandon Forrester. Yep. So check it out. If you guys want to get on the wait list for the program, just send me a sun emoji or just DM me, and I'll get you on the wait list. I got like 40 people right now. So it is going to be a pretty niche group to start, but we'll build it out. I just want to make sure that the people that have already committed to it get the results.
Yeah, sweet. Love it, brother. Well, yeah, can't wait to see what comes next. And yeah, we'll see you out in California. Thanks for coming on again.
Let's see you guys. Let's turn up this year. 2025,
Okay.
Make it your year.
Let's go,
Let's
baby.
go.
Okay, thanks, Bannon.